This is Meredith Anderson coming to you from the News 12 studios with some breaking news. Want to let you know about a situation at Cedar Ridge Elementary School in Grovetown. We have just confirmed within the last few minutes that 7 students and 7 teachers are on the way to the hospital right now or have just arrived at the hospital after a gas leak at the school. We have very limited information about this. We actually first received a tip that employees at WellStar were told to be on alert that multiple patients who had some sort of hazmat exposure were heading in, and that is when we started making phone calls and we were able to confirm the gas leak at Cedar Ridge Elementary School. Again, we have confirmed with Columbia County deputies that 7 students and 7 teachers are being transported to the hospital for evaluation. We do have a crew at WellStar, and so far we're told the whole area is blocked off. Will Rio was trying to get as close as he could to the scene. He says that they can't get down there. AU police are directing traffic. He did, however, have eyes on a school bus in the ER parking lot. Again, we don't have any names. We know that Cedar Ridge Elementary is a kindergarten through 5th grade school in Columbia County. We don't know what grade the students are in, what age they are. We don't have any names yet. We don't know the names of the teachers. All we know right now, all we have confirmed is that it is 7 teachers and 7 students at the hospital being treated for a gas leak, some sort of gas exposure. Of course, this comes one day after Columbia County students in another area had quite the scare. This was after a shooting in the area of Lakeside High School, Lakeside Middle School, and Blue Ridge Elementary School. Put all of those schools on a hard lockdown, delayed school getting out. Some of those students we talked to were in closets and hiding because they were afraid. One student used the word terrifying. So all of this happening just yesterday. This was not a school-related shooting. It just was in proximity to the school. So here we are one day later, and again, Columbia County students hit with a very scary situation. Again, we don't have much information, but we are working to get it as quickly as we can, and we want to be totally transparent with you. We wanted to break in as soon as we had this information confirmed, and we know parents that this is a very scary situation, and if we had more information, we will give it to you, of course. We'll share it with you as soon as we get it, but we felt it was important enough to get this to you live, you know, just as soon as we got it confirmed. Will Rio is at the hospital. We are expecting an update from him when he is able. We also have your Sydney Hood. She went to the school, so we should be expecting an update from her at any minute now. But again, if you're just now joining us, we want to let you know what we have been told and what we are working to get so far. We were first tipped off to the potential of some WellStar employees being told, hey, you need to be ready because multiple patients are on the way. This is a hazmat situation. Get your PPE ready, and that there are some pediatric patients. We, of course, immediately started contacting sources, reaching out to those in the community, but we also had heard about a potential gas leak at Cedar Ridge, and that is when the Columbia County Sheriff's Office was able to connect those dots for us and confirm that, yes, those two are related. The WellStar employees getting that, hey, a heads up, we've got multiple patients, including some pediatric, for some sort of exposure heading to the emergency room. And then, of course, the gas leak that we were hearing about at Cedar Ridge Elementary School. We do not know the condition of the students, but we do know there are 7 of them. We also know there are 7 teachers. As I said, Will Rio went down to WellStar, and he has been trying to learn information. Will, I believe we have you now. We would like to ask you, what have you been able to find out? I know you've been there not very long, but tell us at least what you've been able to see while you were there.
Yeah, we're a little bit further away from where all of this is happening, and rightfully so. They want to make sure that some of these kids are protected, so we're going to try to stay zoomed out as much as we can because, you know, some of the clothes that the kids were wearing, they had to actually take off because of this, as we heard from an AU police officer. But at this intersection right here, if you're headed this way, there is a lot of traffic. Make sure you pay attention because they do have this intersection blocked off if you are trying to go down to the Wellstar ER area or to the VA Medical Center. But when we showed up, again, they had the lanes blocked to get down that road. And then when we got up here, saw some of the police, we actually can see an entire school bus that's in the ER ambulance bay right there. And not too long ago, about 30 seconds ago, we saw multiple doctors come out of the ER area with gurneys too. So we're not sure what the situation is. I know that we had reports that there were 7 kids and 7 teachers who were brought here from Cedar Creek Elementary School because of a gas leak. I'm seeing pictures from your Sydney Hood as well at the school where there is fire trucks. It looks like multiple fire trucks still on scene. We were getting initial reports that the school is being evacuated as well. So it's still unclear what exactly happened with this gas leak, what it was, but we do know again that some students and teachers were transported to Wellstar ER. There is a full school bus here right now. Police have this area blocked off, so you can't even get down the road here behind me. So I can see multiple ambulances outside the bay. So we were also just told that there is going to be a press briefing with the PIO for the hospital here shortly. So I'm going to try to run over and get that real quick. And as soon as we get some updates here, I'll be sure to let you guys know. But Meredith, I have to get over to that press briefing here shortly.
Okay, understood. And we want to make sure that you get there and get the latest information. Thanks for setting the scene for us. I think it's very telling, Will, that you noticed a school bus there at the hospital. Again, we don't know how many people were how these people were transported. We do, many apologies, we do know that there were 7 teachers and 7 students, but we don't know how many were transported by EMS, if any were transported by EMS, if they were transported by the school bus as well. We do have your Sydney Hood at the school, and she is sending photos to our newsroom. We'll try to get those up with on the screen as soon as we can and get some video as well. But there is a firefighter presence at the school, and we are working to learn more, of course, about what's happening at the school. But if you are just now joining us, and again, we know this information is very scary to parents. I'm a parent myself. If I had a child at Cedar Ridge Elementary School, this would be very disheartening news to hear. But that we're hearing about a gas leak at Cedar Ridge Elementary School, and I wish I had more information, even down to ages, but we don't. We have 7 students and we have 7 teachers that have been transported to the hospital that we're told as the result of some sort of gas leak. And as we just heard, Will said they're about to have a news conference at Wellstar, so that's when we're hoping to learn more information. There are HIPAA laws that prevent us from getting a lot of the personal information about what exactly is happening there with the private medical details, but we should be able to get some sort of information because we know a lot of you have a lot of questions, and so do we. Right now you're looking at video that our crews took at the school. You can see 3 Grovetown fire and rescue vehicles there, more than that actually. I'm seeing this for the first time as you are seeing this. We are looking there, obviously a major presence there. And again, as I was just saying, this comes one day after 3 schools were on lockdown in Columbia County after a shooting that happened in the vicinity of 3 schools. Some students were in locked classrooms, hiding in closets. So this is day 2 of some pretty scary stuff for Columbia County schools. Again, if you're just joining us, the only information that we have confirmed so far, again, we do have a number, 7 students, 7 teachers. Cedar Ridge Elementary School is a Columbia County elementary school, kindergarten through 5th grade. We do not know what the age of the students who were transported are. We don't know what grade they're in. We don't have any additional information about the teachers or any of their names. We don't have any information about conditions, but we were initially tipped off to this from a source of mine who said that Wellstar employees were told to get ready for treating some patients, many of which were pediatric patients, from some sort of exposure, and to get the PPE ready. There was no information that I could tell from that source in that first initial heads up that the employees were given as to what the gas was, what the substance was, but we are working to learn what these students and this teacher was exposed to. Again, Will Rio is at the hospital location, and he was able to notice it's blocked off. The police, AU police, aren't letting anyone through, but AU Wellstar is holding a news conference, we're told, coming up, and Will quickly got off camera to be able to go to that and get as much information as we can, because as soon as we hear it, we're making sure to get it to you, and we're going to try to carry that news conference for you live. We want to make sure as soon as that information comes in that we're able to arm you with that. No word about, I'm sorry, what was that again? We're getting live pictures from the school. Okay. This is a live look at the school right now, and you can only imagine, it looks as though that's a playground, and it looks like, you know, any other day there might be some activity there. It is pretty early in the day, but, you know, no one's out there. We're working to learn, obviously, about what's going on at the school, but we are told that the fire trucks are leaving the school and that the initial firefighter hazmat response to the school, at least the visible one that we can see from outside the school, they appear to be leaving. So that is good news. Obviously, in situations like these, the worse the situation gets, the bigger the response. So it is a good sign, if I can speculate, that these fire trucks and some of these scene vehicles are evacuating that scene. What we don't know, again, the condition of the 7 people who were sent to the hospital, and perhaps it could be just a precaution, but we don't know. And we're working to learn those to get those answers for you. They should have a news conference coming up in the next few minutes or so. Not sure of the exact time of that, but obviously this is a very fluid situation, and we are bringing it to you live, and we want to make sure that we get this to you the second that we find this information out. I'm a parent myself. I understand the importance of all of this information and getting it to you right now. We are working to get your Sydney Hood. She is at the school, and we would like to hear from her. Sydney, we understand that the fire trucks just left.
Just within the last 3 minutes, not even 5 minutes ago, we saw several Grovetown fire rescue trucks and one Columbia County fire rescue truck leave the school. Like I said, they were parked in front of the school through the swing sets behind me whenever we got here. We did a circle around the school parking lot to see if we can see anyone else or any more emergency officials out here, but that was all that we saw whenever we got out here. Like I said, just within the last 3 or so minutes is when they left. They went in the right direction from where I'm standing at right now, but that is all that we have so far out here. For the most part, from what I can tell, looking at the school property, I see what appears to be 2 staff members that are walking around the school parking lot right now. They just walked behind us on the sidewalk looking around the school. But other than that, it's calm out here, and still trying to figure out more information about the response here at the school and the fire rescue that was out here. But as soon as I get done here, Meredith, I'm going to head to Grovetown Middle School to see what's going on out there, what that scene looks like there. And of course, we are going to bring you more updates as soon as I get out there.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you so much for that update, Sydney, and for bringing us the video there at the school. We know so many parents are worried here. And in a situation like this, it's difficult to speculate what kind of gas could potentially be involved in a gas leak. Again, we are hearing that it is a confirmed gas leak, 7 students, 7 teachers. But I can tell you the most common gas involved in gas leaks at schools. Again, not saying that this is what the case is. We are still waiting on that. But as we are waiting on some information, it doesn't hurt to kind of look at situations like these in the past and what the most common situations like these are. Natural gas is one of the most common ones to leak from schools. That can be from heating equipment, water heaters, gas lines, if that is indeed the case. It really is, according to statistics, the most common scenario for a gas leak in many schools, especially where schools are gas heated. Again, not confirmed that that's the case here, but we're just trying to get an idea of what we could be looking at. Also, depending on the building, it could be propane. Again, if the site uses propane tanks, we're not sure about that. Carbon monoxide from malfunctioning combustion equipment. A CO leak is not a leak in the same sense as like a broken gas line, but it is commonly linked in. So those are likely, again, not confirmed. Those could be the likely scenarios that we're looking at. And the reason I suggest those is because statistically, those are the most common leaks when you're talking about gas leaks in schools. And it seems as though a procedure was in place. I mean, we've seen a very quick response, and now we've also seen the firefighters leave the school, which I hate to speculate as well, but it seems as though that could potentially be a good sign. Also, Sydney reporting that the school seems very calm, and that's a good sign as well. But of course, we are still working to learn more information, ask these questions. If you are just now joining us, we know a lot of people join this live stream in progress. So many apologies to those of you who are having to hear this same information over and over, but it's important to catch up the people who are kind of just now joining in on this. We have confirmed from the Columbia County Sheriff's Office that 7 teachers and 7 students have been sent to the hospital for gas exposure from a gas leak. Want to talk you through the transparency of how we got this information confirmed. I first got a tip that Wellstar employees were told that they should be ready for some sort of influx of patients, to have PPE ready because potentially these patients were exposed to some sort of gas and that they were likely pediatric patients. We also got another tip right around the same time that there was a gas leak at Cedar Ridge Elementary School. So when we were reaching out to our sources, we were able to confirm with the Columbia County Sheriff's Office that those 7 teachers and 7 students were transported to the hospital. So that wasn't anything that we are speculating on. That is confirmed information from the Columbia County Sheriff's Office. I want to make that very clear that that's who we got the information from. Also, if you're just joining us, Will Rio is at the hospital. He was outside Wellstar AU. He noticed a school bus in the parking lot, but he really couldn't get close. He said that AU police had blocked it off and he was not able to get very close to the hospital at all. However, he did receive word that there is a news conference coming up very shortly, and he wanted to make sure that he could get to that news conference, be able to get you that information. So he very quickly got off the TV screen and was able to break down and get to where that location is. So hopefully, as soon as that starts, we'll be able to get that news conference here for you live and be able to bring you that information as it happens. And I'm just hearing now in my ear that this is happening shortly. Again, I don't have a time frame on that, but again, we are going to stay with you and hold your hand through this and make sure that you get that information as soon as you can get that information. And Cedar Ridge parents, I'm a parent myself, I know that this information is super scary, but the best way to kind of combat that is to be informed, right? So we're making sure to get you the latest information and the quickest information that we possibly can. Your Sydney Hood was at the school. She has been sharing some pictures of fire trucks outside the school with us. I want to let you know that if you see that video, which we may run to catch new viewers up to speed, that isn't an accurate depiction of what it looks like now. Those fire trucks have now left, which is a good sign. She also said that she was going to go to the middle school and check out that school as well. So hopefully we will have an update from her coming up very shortly. You are looking now of the school and you can see the response there, the fire and rescue on scene. And they, again, want to make sure to let you know that those trucks have since left and that those responders have since left the school. But again, you can see there are seven kids and 7 teachers sent to the hospital. And I went through this before, but again, many apologies for those of you who are having to hear the same thing over and over again. Statistic-wise, some of the most common gas leaks at schools is kind of what we have to go on now, since we don't have any clear information of what we're dealing with here. And you know what? I'm one of those people who does all the research and I want to know what we could be dealing with. So that's what we're going to look at now. The statistically most common substances you're dealing with in situations like these. The number one leak that schools deal with, and not just schools in our area, but schools nationwide, is a natural gas leak. And what's concerning about that, of course, is the methane from that. That can come from heating equipment, water heaters, gas lines, that sort of thing. And it is the most common fuel gas leak scenario in most schools. Also possible, and again, this is all speculation here, propane, if the site uses propane tanks, and maybe carbon monoxide from some malfunctioning equipment, but it's important to point out that a CO leak is not really a leak in the same sense as like a broken gas line, but it is one of those common dangerous gas incidents tied to heaters. And as we all know, it's been pretty cold lately. And again, if you're joining us now and you are a parent of a Lakeside High School student, a Lakeside Middle School student, or a Blue Ridge Elementary School student, we know it's been a really tough day for you as well. I mean, you sent your kids to school back this morning after a shooting yesterday in the close proximity to all three of those schools, put those schools on lockdown. We had kids hiding in closets, kids, doing exactly what their drills prepared them to do, closing the door, turning off the lights. And so Columbia County dealing with that yesterday, and then, of course, dealing with this today. We are working to learn as much information as we can. And again, I know those of you who've been with us here for a while, you're hearing a lot of that same information, and that's for a couple of reasons. Number one, we just want to make sure anyone who's joining us in progress is able to stay updated, especially those Cedar Ridge parents and the grandparents who want to make sure that their children are okay, their classmates are okay, their teachers are okay. Right now, we have a live look there at the hospital where those 14 people are, those 7 kids and those 7 teachers. We are awaiting a news conference there. Your Will Rio is there, and he is standing by to bring this to us as soon as we can so that we can bring this to you live and get you the information. I mean, you will be hearing it for the first time as I hear it, and that's by design. We want to make sure that this information gets to you as quickly as possible. Parents, I'm a parent as well, and I know that this is some pretty scary stuff. So we appreciate you sticking with us, and we are working, I promise, we're working so hard to get these answers for you. Again, 7 students, 7 teachers, 14 total sent to the hospital after a possible gas leak. Cedar Ridge Elementary School has kids ages 12, not ages 12, it's kindergarten through 5th grade. So there are some 12-year-olds there, but there's very young children there as well. And, we don't know the age of the kids who are in the hospital right now. We don't know the condition. We don't know the names. We don't have any identifying information at all. We also don't know the names of the teachers. We don't know what grade. We don't even really know the area of the school that was a primary concern. We have nothing officially confirmed about where this gas leak potentially was and how many students were potentially exposed to it. Again, we are standing by at AU Wellstar to bring you that news conference as soon as we can. But this is one of those situations where, we hope this is something that doesn't happen here. But Augusta is a medical community. We are very fortunate to have the strong medical community that we have, and we are able to make sure that students get care and get care quickly. We aren't sure how many of them were transported by bus or by ambulance, but Will said that he noticed a school bus in the parking lot at Wellstar AU. So we aren't sure if that was a situation where, they just got those who were potentially affected or exposed to this gas there quickly, or if they were well enough to be on the bus and that was just how they decided to do it. We are still working to figure all of that out. But anytime you hear about a gas leak, of course you're worried about respiratory issues, that sort of thing. When I first got the tip that Wellstar was being told, the employees there were being told, get ready for an influx of some patients, some of those pediatric, there was a note there saying, make sure to have PPE. It wasn't exactly clear what kind of a hazmat situation it was. Obviously, now we know it was a gas leak that caused this. But again, there are many types of gas, and we don't know exactly what chemicals, what gases these kids, these teachers were exposed to. But we are spreading out with our team. We've got your Sydney Hood at local schools trying to get the latest information there. And we've got your Will Rio standing by at our local hospital trying to wait on this news conference. Again, let me correct this. I'm just now getting information that this is a press briefing, so it may not be one of those very organized and polished news conferences. It just may be somebody with authorization to speak about what's going on, coming out and answering questions, which great. We just are trying to get any information possible. And so it's good that we're at least being made aware that the hospital is making someone available to us. We are working to get some information too from the school district. Sydney Hood heading over to Grovetown Middle, but she hasn't heard anything officially from any of this about what's going on with the school. She does say that there's a pretty big line of cars at Grovetown Middle School, and when she just left Cedar Ridge Elementary, she left when the firefighters left and the first responders left. She said it was very quiet, very peaceful, not a lot going on. We saw in the live pictures an eerily empty playground when we were looking at, a time of day like today. It's 2:30. So yeah, the kids would some of those kids would be out there playing, and it was just an empty playground out there. We are also hearing that there's going to be, there's a staging area not far from where Will was. So, there are probably parents with some questions too about all of this. We're really working to learn more information, but all I can tell you right now, all that we have officially confirmed is that there are 7 students and 7 teachers, 14 total, who were exposed to some sort of gas from a gas leak, and they were transported to AU Wellstar. We also know that the staff at AU Wellstar was given a heads up. They were alerted to the fact that there was going to be some influx of patients, some of those pediatric, and to have the PPE ready because of some sort of hazmat exposure. We don't know the type of gas that these students and teachers were exposed to. Right now, we really have more questions than answers, and we are staying on the air, holding your hand through this, making sure that we are here to give you the information as we get it, so that there is no turnaround time. You're going to hear it live as we hear it. Parents, we know that this is a scary time, especially after yesterday, especially after 3 Columbia County schools, same district, were put on lockdown after a shooting in the vicinity. So the Columbia County school family is reeling today after 2 pretty scary situations. I mean, to be a parent and have something happen at your child's school is scary. It just is. But that's why we're here to give you the information, because the best way to fight that fear is with information, and we want to make sure that you are staying informed. We have another reporter too out at the scene, Ethan Hunter. We're working to get him shortly. He is not set up and ready to go, but as soon as we got this information, we sent our reporters out there. Will went to the hospital. We've got Ethan in the field now. Sydney Hood went to the school, and we jumped on the stream as quickly as we could to make sure that you had this information as quickly as you could get it. We are working to contact the school district. I haven't seen anything official from the school district yet. I'm looking in our notes. Here we go. I do see one. This was sent out at 2:10 from Amanda Moody. This says, due to an odor in the school, we have evacuated students and staff to the Grovetown Middle School gymnasium. Dismissal time will remain the same, but will take place at the middle school. If parents wish to pick up their child early, they may do so from the middle school gymnasium. We will send a letter out shortly and wanted to inform you as quickly as possible. So again, this is new information here. And it's interesting that the school system described it as an odor in the school. The school system did not say a gas leak. They said, those are the words from the public information officer for the school district, due to an odor in the school. but they have evacuated students and staff. That's why we saw that eerie empty playground in the still in the peaceful school as those trucks left. But again, the Grovetown Middle School gymnasium is where those elementary school kids will be. Dismissal time will remain the same, so we're about, I guess, an hour or so from there, but will take place at the middle school. The middle school gets out probably in the next, I guess, 10 minutes or so. So yeah, it's going to be a line of cars like Sydney mentioned. Also, parents, if you want to pick up your kid early, you can also do that as well, which no doubt a lot of kids are getting picked up early. But again, we are following this and trying to get you as updated information as we possibly can. We're showing you a live look outside the hospital right now as we are standing by for a news conference or some sort of press briefing. We're not exactly sure, but whatever it is, we're going to bring it to you live because we want to make sure that you get that information. There is a school bus not terribly far, so we aren't sure if the children and the teachers were transported by that school bus or not. Again, let me look through some of our recent updates here. The most important, I guess, update that we've heard so far is that evacuation there of the students to Grovetown Middle School, where they're at the gym, where dismissal is the same time, but they will obviously take place at the middle school there where the dismissal will happen. So parents, if you wish to pick up your child early, you can do so from the middle school gym. And your Sydney Hood has been telling us that she sees quite a line of cars out there. So it looks as though parents are kind of taking that to heart and picking up their kids. Again, if you're just now joining us, and for those of you who have been with us since the beginning or been with us for quite some time now, many apologies that we are repeating this information, but we know some desperate parents, some parents who really want to know what's going on are constantly joining us. So as they do, we want to make sure that they have the latest information. And the most important part of this is what we have confirmed from Columbia County deputies, and that is that there was a gas leak at Cedar Ridge Elementary School. 7 students and 7 teachers, 14 total, were taken to AU Wellstar where they are being treated. We do not know the extent of their exposure. We don't know any of their symptoms. We don't know if it was just a precaution. But what we do know is that they were taken to the hospital and that the school district is taking this very seriously. The school district stopped short of calling it a gas leak. However, the school district called it a smell of an odor. There was some sort of odor in the school. So that's why they evacuated the school and sent the kids to the middle school. We are awaiting a news conference or a press briefing. Whatever happens, we're going to bring it to you live. Your Will Rio is standing by getting ready to bring that to you. We just showed you not too long ago a live look in the lobby. So we've got a camera pointed and ready to go. And this may be a situation where someone with the authority to speak on this comes out and is able to just answer some questions, make a brief statement. We don't know if this is going to be more of a press conference, news conference style, but whatever it is, it's going to be new information, and we'll make sure to get that to you live. You and I will be hearing it for the very first time here together. We are working to find out names. We don't know the ages of the students who were affected. Elementary school runs the gamut. You've got, kindergartners all the way up to 5th grade. So we're looking at kids who could be as young as 5 or 6 maybe, all the way up to kids who are like 10, 11. So that's a pretty broad range in age and maturity levels, and of course we don't know the grade level of where the exposure happened. We also don't know where in the building the exposure happened either. That is something that we're working to learn too. We don't know if it was just one classroom or if it was a bigger area like a cafeteria. And we also don't know what gas these students were exposed to, or the students. But it looks as though we are about to get one of our live reporters, and many apologies for this being a little bit rough here, but we are bringing you in the moment. This is not polished. You know, we are being completely transparent and just getting on the air so that the second new information comes in, we can hand it to you. We're going to now send it over to your Sydney Hood. And Sydney, I believe when we last saw you, you said you were heading over to Grovetown Middle.
Yes, I just got out here within the last 5 minutes, Meredith, where it seems to be pickup time is either about to start or it's underway. I just saw maybe about 5 or 6 school buses leave the school property. I don't know how much you can see behind me. If we want to pan over just a little bit over here, you can see that there are cars parked all the way up to the road that we are at, and we're a pretty good distance from the entrance of the school here. Again, it's kind of hard to divide up who's here to pick up an elementary age student, who's here to pick up a middle age school student, but we did a drive around the school just to see what we could see, and seeing a lot of cars pulling into the parking lot to go pick up their kids. And you had mentioned earlier at Cedar Ridge how eerie and quiet was out there, because you look at the time right now, it's about 2:45. This is normally dismissal time. Kids are normally at recess at that time, so that was just a really quiet place over there, kind of eerie like you had mentioned. But like I said, out here at Grovetown Middle, very active out here. A lot of people pulling in to go pick up their kids. Like I said, can't really specify who's here to pick up their middle school student, who's here to pick up their elementary school student. We are still waiting to hear back from the school district with some questions that we had for them. They did send us an official update about 30 or so minutes ago saying that due to an odor in the school that they've evacuated students and staff to here to the Grovetown Middle School gym, and that was the latest update that we got from them. Like I said, as soon as we got our tip about this, we immediately reached out to the school district with some questions, still waiting to hear back with some answers from them. We're going to stay out here all afternoon to hopefully get in touch with some parents who are here to pick up their kids, because again, we still don't know what grade level is impacted by this. It's an elementary school, so that's kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth grade even, so still trying to figure that out. Like I said, we're going to be out here all afternoon. I know Will is over at the hospital on standby for an update there, but we've got a lot of questions, still waiting on a lot of answers, but of course we're going to continue staying on top of this.
All right, thanks for that, Sydney. We do have some disappointing news from AU. We had been reporting that they were going to do some sort of news conference or press briefing. We have now been told that is not going to happen, which of course is frustrating, because I know that all of us, especially the parents of students in that school, were looking forward to hearing some more information about this. And it's interesting that Sydney mentioned, again, the school district is only saying an odor here. That might make you speculate, if they are not officially confirming a gas leak, could this be some other fumes of some sort? Again, we have no official confirmation on that. We're just, hearing that these students were taken to the hospital, and all we have confirmed from the sheriff's office does confirm the number of 7 students, 7 teachers. That doesn't mean that there could be more. Those are just the numbers that we are hearing confirmed from the sheriff's office. That's why we have Will at AU working to learn more information. It's why we've got Sydney out, and it's why Ethan Hunter is also out there too. So you see me on the air, but there are lots of other people working out in the field and behind the scenes trying to find as much information about this as we can. We want to make sure that you get the absolute very latest information. But again, all we've got officially confirmed from the sheriff's office is that there were 7 students and 7 teachers. Want to let you know, if you are just now joining us, about what Sydney was talking about. The students and staff that were not taken to the hospital at Cedar Ridge Elementary School, all of them were evacuated to the Grovetown Middle School gymnasium. And right now we are dealing with a pickup time situation where parents were able to pick up their kids early. and that's what many parents, it seems, are doing. They do say that they will send a letter out shortly, and we are monitoring for that letter as well, because we want to make sure that we get that information out to you as soon as we can. We can tell you that there are no fire trucks left at the school. That's where Sydney was, and Sydney was at Cedar Ridge, and she was giving us those images, and that's the video that you're looking at now. The first responders, the hazmat teams, the firefighters, we were told, initially that this was a gas leak, and firefighters are often the first responders to so many things, but they left rather quickly. So that does, if I can speculate here, that is some good news, because it doesn't seem as though anything could be actively leaking. But again, they say at the Columbia County School District that there's an odor in the school and that they have evacuated students and staff as a precaution. So again, the school district not using the word gas leak, not using the word fumes, not using the word chemicals. The school district just using the word odor, which is important to note here. Again, we've got 7 students, 7 teachers who are at AU, and we are waiting on word about what age they are, even what grade they were in, what part of the school this happened in. It's a lot of unknowns right now, and if you dropped out and then are dropping back in hopes of seeing that news conference or that press briefing we were talking about, super disappointing that has, we've been told that is not happening. So apparently Will was told that was not happening. So he has left that area, and he is heading back to the ER area, and hopefully we'll be able to get us some more information there. Again, the information we have, extremely limited. And for those of you joining us, it is a lot of the same information being repeated, but we also know a lot of people are dropping in and dropping out in hopes of some new information. So we're just staying on the air and holding your hand through this. But 14 people are currently at the hospital, and 7 of them are teachers and 7 of them are students. I first received a tip before we confirmed this information that AU Wellstar was put on alert that they had some patients coming in, many of those pediatric. I'm hearing now that your Will Rio is ready for an update, and Will, super frustrating. We were looking forward to a news conference or some sort of press briefing to get some more information, but we understand now that that's not going to happen.
Us that there was going to be a press briefing with the PIO for the hospital at some point to get some information as to what exactly happened at Cedar Ridge Elementary School. We walked all the way over there. It took us about 10 minutes, set up, waited for one of the representatives to come down to tell us that they weren't sure if a press conference was happening at this time. It took us another 10-15 minutes to figure out that there was no press conference or information, that we were actually taken off the street because of HIPAA concerns when we are on a public sidewalk here. So when we got back out here, the school bus was gone. It looks like the street is now back open and operating normally here. Some of the ambulances had left earlier. So unfortunately, I have no new updates from Wellstar or AU Police at this time, like we were promised about 30 minutes or so ago. So again, Meredith, I know you've been on this live for a good hour, reiterating some of the information. But again, we know that several students and teachers were brought here to Wellstar. A couple of the lanes were closed here by AU Police. We saw the road behind me was completely blocked off again with that school bus at the ER ambulance bay there. But as of right now, still waiting for a little bit more information from the school district, police department, and maybe the fire department if we're able to get that.
All right, thanks for that, Will. And again, super frustrating. Sorry, as I'm reaching out to some of my sources too. It is, one thing when you're told you're going to be given information and Looking forward to hearing that, but it's another when you believe that you have been moved when you're standing on a public sidewalk. But that is a conversation for another day. We are continuing to follow breaking news out of Grovetown. Cedar Ridge Elementary School has been evacuated. A situation where parents are picking up their kids early from Grovetown. They've moved their kids over to Grovetown Middle School, all the staff and faculty and students, and 7 teachers, 7 children that we have confirmed so far have been transported to the hospital, AU, where Will is now. We were given an update as before we broke off to talk to Will and see if he had anything new. I was letting you know something about a source reached out to me and provided some information that AU Wellstar employees were given. And it's one of those situations where, hey, heads up, we've got some patients coming. We're not sure how many. It's multiple patients, and we're looking at some pediatric patients. And it looks like some sort of chemical exposure, perhaps gas exposure. There was no clear information on what type of exposure it was, just that employees needed to be ready for some PPE. It mentioned some information about perhaps respiratory, but again, did not go into detail that was specific to this sort of situation. It was more a broad description of, what the staff at AU is trained for and to, be ready of what's coming. Also triage as well was mentioned, and that is common procedure. Again, we have an incredible medical community here. We've got the Children's Hospital of Georgia here. We've got AU, Wellstar. We've got Piedmont. We've got VA hospitals here. So that is right in the heart of the medical district. And we've got, around the clock care happening. So we are very fortunate to be in a medical community. Grovetown, not terribly far, so students were able to get here relatively quickly. Like Will was mentioning, he saw a school bus in the parking lot. That school bus has since left. No word if that was the bus that was used to transport those 14 people or some of those 14 people, but we do know the bus was there and now it's not, and it was moved during the time that we were kind of kicked off a public sidewalk there to try to bring you the latest information. There was, we were told, a news conference, some sort of press briefing that was going to happen. If you are dipping back in to see, if that has started, I hate to tell you that we have now been told that is not happening, so we cannot bring that to you, but we would, of course, have brought that to you live if we could. When you're talking about an elementary school, you're talking about kids, kindergarten age, all the way up through 5th grade. So, kids could be 4, 5, 6 years old. They could be 9, 10, 11. It's a pretty wide range of age. And so we don't know how many of those kids came from, one area of the school. If it was a situation where they all came from the same area. We are working about all of that. I just want to give you some information as it is just coming in. Sydney Hood spoke to a grandparent off camera about this. They did not know any details. They just knew to come and get the grandkids. They said the kids were happy rolling down the hill to get picked up, so they did not appear to seem upset, which is a good thing, because obviously in situations like these, this can be very upsetting, very scary for kids, especially if you have a bunch of firefighters and fire trucks and people in uniform, and especially in PPE show up if they came into the school that way. So it's good to know that at least those children didn't appear, upset or worried about it. And that's on the heels of what happened, of course, near Lakeside High School, Lakeside Middle, and Blue Ridge Elementary yesterday, when there was a shooting in the vicinity and all of those schools had to go on lockdown. You're looking now at a picture that we just got in. That's right outside of Grovetown Middle. And you can imagine, right, a middle school pickup line any other day is a very crowded place to be. I know that I've been in one many, many times, and you can sit for a very long time. So this line is obviously much longer today after the elementary school was evacuated, the faculty, staff, all the students, and then they were all taken to the gym there at Grovetown Middle. So what you've got is, if you are not affected by this at all, but you're heading over in the way of Grovetown Middle School, you're going to want to avoid that for quite some time, because the school system has it very well planned. The pickup line, the car line, if you haven't been in one, it is an art. And if you don't get there just at the right time, you're going to be waiting for a long time. And that is just for one school. This is combining two schools. So you're dealing with a middle school getting out and all of the students from an elementary school in the gym. There are procedures at elementary schools in Columbia County. You can't just be anybody and pick up a child. You have to usually have a placard in your windshield that has the name of the child and the grade, and you have to be an approved person to pick up these young kids. So no doubt that is having to happen too. So this is not a quick process by any means. And we've got parents at a gym and an elementary school picking up their kids, and then we've got parents from Grovetown Middle School who are picking up their kids as well. You can see standstill traffic there, and again, standstill traffic is the norm when you're talking about the pickup line on any given day without any additional people. So you can imagine what it's like when you've got those extra kids, an entire school's worth of extra kids in the gymnasium. If you're just now joining us right now, we are repeating a lot of this information, but we know a lot of people are joining us in progress. And we want to make sure that everyone gets the very latest information. We have at the moment 14 people rather at the hospital, 7 kids, 7 adults, and we got crews spread out. At Grovetown Middle. Sydney was first at Cedar Ridge Elementary School, then she moved to Grovetown Middle, where all of this pickup action is happening. Will, of course, at the hospital, and we've got Ethan Hunter on scene as well. We're going to try to check in with them as often as we can, and as soon as they have new information as well. But we do not know the age of these kids. We do not know, and when I say the age of these kids, the kids who were affected. But we do know, Sydney, from the most part, from at least the parent that you talked to, that the kids didn't seem upset or at all traumatized by this, and that's a good sign.
Not at all, Meredith, and I'll tell you, it was the 2 kids that caught my eye and brought me to this grandparent as they were here to pick up those kids, because I don't know how well you can see behind me. There's a steep hill right here, and the kids were laughing. They were running down the hill to their grandparent, and then they started rolling down the hill, so being very playful. So that kind of gave me the indication that they weren't upset or didn't have any thought about what was going on or why they were over here at the middle school. But I did stop to speak to that grandparent to see if they knew anything. They didn't have a lot of details to give me other than they just knew to come here to pick up their grandkids. But yeah, like you mentioned, the kids, they were happy, they were playful, rolling down the hill out here. That's what caught my attention with there. So that was a good sign to see. At least those have been the only 2 elementary age kids that I've seen out here so far. I've seen a lot of what appear to be middle-age school students that were walking alongside Harlem Grovetown Road, which is behind me right now, and I don't know how well you can see to the road, but you can see the line of cars really starting to build up here. I do see cars moving on Harlem Grovetown Road. Did not see that earlier, as cars were at a standstill trying to pull into the middle school parking lot to pick up their kid here. But I've really just been kind of walking around the school trying to see if there's anything new that I can gather, any parents that are out of their car or any parents in their car that I can possibly get any new information from. Haven't heard a lot from the school district earlier, other than that update that they gave us around 2:10, 2:15, confirming the odor inside Cedar Ridge Elementary School here. But like I said, school pickup, it's underway here. We are out here looking at the traffic building up, watching kids walk out here to get inside their cars or walk home. I'm seeing a lot of kids walking right now. I'm not sure their destination. Like I said, I can only assume that they're walking home out here, but that's what's going on out here. Like I said, it is very busy out here, a very different scene compared to what I saw earlier at Cedar Ridge Elementary School. It was very quiet out there, very eerie. I'm going to use that term again because that's exactly what it felt like. You saw the playground that was not being utilized when I would assume it would be recess or at least pick up around this time. And like I said, whenever I got out there, I saw several fire rescue trucks that were not out there long. Well, at least whenever we got out there, they left about 5 minutes after we got out there. But like I said, made our way over here to Grovetown Middle where those students were evacuated to. Parents are here to pick up their kids. I've got a school bus right here beside me that is full of kids right now, and again, we're just going to walk around and try and find some parents out here to try and get some more information on what they were told, what they heard, and what they know, because like I mentioned, haven't gotten all of our questions answered from the school district. Like I said, they sent us an update earlier, but that is all that we have for right now. We are asking those questions and trying to get answers, trying to get a better understanding on what happened out here, trying to get an idea of what the age of the kids, what grade it was, all of that. We are asking those questions. We are just waiting on those answers right now.
Yeah, we are. Thanks for that, Sydney. If I may, super frustrating that we haven't been able to get a lot of information, a lot more additional information in the last hour as we've been streaming live continuously here. We're going to wrap things up, but before we do, I'm going to give you just a quick overview of what we have confirmed so far. And it's not much at this point, which again is frustrating, but we've got crews at Grovetown Middle, we've got Will at the hospital, and we've got Ethan Hunter in the field asking these questions. We've got a newsroom of people in there working to get you answers as well. But all we've got confirmed so far, 7 students, 7 teachers transported to the hospital for some sort of gas leak, chemical exposure. The school system is just saying an odor. So we're not even being given a clear direction of what these 14 people who were sent to the hospital might have been exposed to at the school. We will continue to keep asking these questions, and we will keep working to get you answers. Make sure, even when we're not on the air, and we go on the air in an hour for our newscast, News 12 First at 4. But in that meantime, stay glued to our website, also our Facebook page, our social media accounts. We are going to be doing our very best to keep you updated in the meantime. And of course, we've got our team of reporters out in the field working to get you answers. Signing off for now, but I will see you next, coming up on News 12 First at 5.